We want to start Veterans Day today with kind of how Veterans Day came about, so we get a better understanding of it. According to the Veteran Administration's website, the origin of Veterans Day came about from the following actions. In 1921, an unknown World War I American soldier was buried at Arlington Cemetery. This site, which I have visited, is breathtaking. Sits on a hillside overlooking the Potomac River in the city of Washington, D.C., and has become the focal point of reverence for America's veterans. Similar ceremonies occurred earlier in England and France, where an unknown soldier was buried in each nation's highest place of honor. These memorial gestures took place on November 11th, giving universal recognition to the celebrated end of World War I. This took place at 11 a.m., November 11th, 1918, the 11th hour, the 11th day of the 11th month. This day would become known as Armistice Day. Armistice Day officially received its name in America in 1926 through a congressional resolution. It became a national holiday 12 years later by a similar congressional action. If the idealistic hope had been realized that World War I was truly the war to end all wars, November 11th might still be called Armistice Day. But only a few years after the holiday was proclaimed, war broke out in Europe. Since then, Armistice Day officially became known as Veterans Day in 1954. And this took place under then-President Dwight Eisenhower, himself a veteran. The original meaning of Armistice Day was to celebrate peace and honor fallen soldiers. It has since evolved into a day to honor all veterans, living or dead. Dr. Edward Tick, whose life's work is helping veterans with PTSD find peace, indicates in his book, War in the Soul. It's a good read. It's actually in our library, upstairs, back in the corner. Veterans Day has become a day to celebrate patriotism and to thank those that served in the military. Unfortunately, many veterans that harbor guilt and remorse for their actions and what they witnessed in the horrors of war retreat into hiding during these celebrations and find anything but peace. We have come to realize that as long as there are disagreements and differences in opinion, there will always be strife. And where there is strife, there will always be a need for soldiers. You know, the movies and the media portray veterans and soldiers as motivated to kill to advance the common good. And this is simply not true. Soldiers and veterans want peace, not war. But make no mistake, they will defend our freedoms and the right to peace at all costs. They are trained for combat, but long for peace. Now, ending my little speech here, I want to end with kind of an experience that I had at community college. And my professors will know when I talk about this how I am, but I was sitting in class and a young lady, I was not familiar with her, she made a complaint to the teacher that she didn't get Veterans Day off. So what has become known as the Ben effect by one of my psychology professors there, I've been known to speak up probably at inappropriate times and say things that may be a little bit too blunt and true. I asked her, I said, but are you a veteran? And she said, no. I said, well, I'm a veteran. I'll be here. So what makes you any different? And that was an ignorant comment that I made, as I come to find out later. So as I got to talking with this young lady after class, I discovered that her father was a combat war veteran. Her mother had to put up with the combat war veteran. Her brothers were all deployed, and her fiance was actually going to boot camp. So she had earned the right to be honored on Veterans Day. We don't just honor veterans today, we honor their families. It's all about sacrifice. So as we move forward today, let's make sure that we honor those that support our veterans along with our veterans. And know that the families of veterans and veterans themselves long for peace, not war. This longing is best demonstrated by our Secretary of Defense, General Mad Dog Mattis, as he addressed Iraqi leaders during the invasion. I come in peace. I didn't bring artillery, but I'm pleading with you with tears in my eyes. If you mess with me, I will destroy you all. And I had to edit it because he was a little bit more aggressive in his language. But that demonstrates it. A veteran wants peace. He doesn't want to fight, but make no mistake, he will. But always remember that he longs for peace, as we should as well. Thank you.